Hi guys, Shirley Peters here. Today we're doing a landscape and it is Glen Davis near Sydney. Beautiful canyon with a sort of a weird shaped mountain there, but it's a beautiful spot, well worth the visit if you're coming this way. I'm going to use Archer's watercolor paper, by the way, and 185 GSM this one, and it's a rough, cold press. It's semi-rough, I should say. So the brushes, paints, everything's listed below, and I do the sketch fast forward, and then the painting is normal time. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, first thing I do is spray the whole page because I'm going to be putting in an overall tint. I use this thing, which is the 1 1/4 inch Neef camel hair. I'll start with the bluish sky. Try and leave some clouds there, if I can discipline myself. Come down to some beautiful browns. Greens. I'll go to the blues on this mountain. Oh, I might go the reds and greys. Back to some browns. Just to make sure I've got the right colours. Take a highlight out here. This is the time to do it, and it's just wet. And you want to just do a couple of little highlight areas. Okay. Very blondie sand colour at the base. And I'll leave some white there. Come back in with some greens. Greens mixed with yellow and brown. Just see if I can improve this situation. If I bring my brushes, my paints up here, you've got a better idea of how I'm... Is it looking better? Yeah, I know. Water is quite dark here, and there's no Can't see any white on it, but that said, I might allow for a little bit. And down the front it goes to a darker greener colour. Of course, all these colours are very relative, they're all going to fade out. More yellows on here. Over this side. It's all wet, so it's all melting in together. Come down to a very dark moon glow shade in behind these trees here. You can see the paper, this is only 185 gram paper, by the way. You can see it's beginning to buckle. That's what happens. So shadows from those men, from those trees that are bending forward over them. More shadows in here. Okay. Oh, lovely big shadow just at the back there. How will I put that? I might be able to... Oh, the brush has gone all funny. But, okay. When brushes do that, retire them out. I always rinse it, but... Go to my next favourite brush. I want to put a cool moon glow style shadow in there. Behind those trees. Up the mountain's edge. Down that side of the cliff. Like that. Put another bit up there. This side definitely come darker. I'm slowly building it up. I started with the paler colours and I'm slowly adding in these darker tones. And playing around, colour's not that important at this stage. It's nice to have it in an interesting colour, but accuracy's not one of my strengths. Because these are such a long way away, they need to be fuzzy. You don't want them sharp in the distance, otherwise it doesn't look right. You might be able to see it sharp if you've got good eyesight, but still doesn't necessarily look right. I'm just going to take some of that out, so give it a misty look into the distance. I'm drying my brush on my paper, kitchen paper, and just going back into it like that. I could, if I wanted to at this stage, just test out to see what the finger marks do. No, none of them are really very effective. Helps if it's very dark for that to work. Now, I've got to see how that's pooling a little bit there. Just brush across, take a bit out. I'll take a bit out up here too. Yep. It's another tree. I'm not even sure what I'll do there. Anyway, okay. I'm going to dry this off now with my dryer. I'll turn the video off so that you're not bothered by it. And I'll come back. It'll take me a good 5 minutes to dry it, I think. Okay, that took less than 5 minutes. I'd say it took 1 minute. So that's good. Now, what I love about this painting is the actual, the dark behind these figures. I'm moving the figures up a little bit and I want to put the dark in behind them. So I'd like to establish that now. And I'm going to go for the moon glow, the black and a bit of brown. take a bit of care with this because I want a fairly sharp, accurate edge there. A bit too much paint on my brush, so I just scraped it off on the edge. So once you get the part in that's important, you can then just press smooth the brush against the top edge, in this case, and let that melt in. So you get dark edge and then it goes up to lighter. And then I need to run it down here just to get that edge to that water. Oh, that's right, confluence. There's a couple of rivers coming in here together. On the other side, there's some interesting shadows on that bank. A little bit of brown and green mixed together. Trying to keep the colours very neutral over there. They're not important. You don't want bright colours in the distance. And I'll just do some funny little patterns with my brush. Leaving some white tree trunks in there. I'll bring it out to a nice sap green. Oops. Add a bit of yellow to that green. Here and there, there's some light coming through, so I'm just going to touch it like that. Give that feeling of light, even though I haven't got the trees properly painted in yet. Keep your lines diagonal to make it look like this. Shadows coming, the light beams are coming through. I'll darken this part of the trees. Yeah. They're very vague. Just for the fun of it, I might just spray that with water to soften it off. It'll all merge in amongst itself, but and it's fascinating to watch the greens. Looks like it's growing like leaves, so that's good. Just emphasise that. Not going to do much behind there. I think I'll need to darken this side of the trees here. Once again, some black and blue and green. Yeah, this is fairly important here. These are feature trees, so I'm going to just do their little bunches of leaves that grow on the end of each branch. They're not necessarily gum trees, these are more like pines, but there are gum trees amongst it. A kind of combination of different trees, so I'll just pattern that in. Pine. Mainly I'm painting the left side. I'll come back to this again, get that darker up there. Trying to make it three-dimensional. That's the other option. At the front here, there's some dark areas on that picture that show a dark green that is much yellower and lighter. In other words, it's relatively a dark green. Let's see, I'll make it a lighter pattern. Poke it in like that. Just flip the brush around every now and then to give a feeling of growth. Okay. There's that tree trunk there. I need to allow for that. So maybe if I just go around it like that. One at the back is going to be dark, but whether I remember, sometimes I start a plan like that and then I forget and paint over it, or not allow for it. Okay. Tree trunks are going to be very important, but the figures are also important, and the ground they're walking on is important. So I wouldn't mind putting that in. Oops, put that down there. The ground they're walking on. I'm kind of thinking I'll leave it white. I'll get some purple on my brush. And I'll just put some purpley shadows going across there. And I want to put a nice green edge on that water. A few streaks in the water itself. Oh, I just noticed there is some, if I look really closely, which always helps, there is some blue in that water, but in the meantime, just going to run a few lines across like that. Now the colour in the foreground can be a reddy brown. I might start this way, get the colour going here. Once again, different strokes to make it interesting, lights and darks. Blend that in with the grasses there. For that matter, some bright yellow grasses too, right here in the foreground. Put those in early because I want them to dry off, and then I'll get an idea of what variations I'll need to do, what colours I need to add. Okay. Now, my figures are beginning to get filled in with a little bit of running water there, but that's quite dry, so not enough to worry about. Don't think I need to go in and dry that again at this stage. Lovely red jacket by that from On One Chap. Put that in. Not too neat. Got to keep the figures just as rough. He's got jeans on, so I'll just make sure the colours are half accurate. The other chap's got dark blue. There we go. Now, just going to test where my black is on this palette. Down here. I have a feeling I don't have a black, so I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take the dark moon glow, which could be, what have I got here? Neutral tint and moon glow together, and add a little bit of brown to it to try and get a really dark colour. Because now is when I want to play with the trees over on this side of the lake, or the river. And I'll be putting in some trunks here. So I'm sloping them, which this is the problem with me. I can't quite see what I'm doing. Not watching. They're actually vertical. I don't need to slope them. I don't know why I was thinking they were sloped a diagonal. I think they're straight up and down. But they are on a, this would flood regularly, this river, every heavy rain. So some of them are foreground, some are in the back. There's sand underneath them, and it's a reddy colour, it might be just the photograph, but I'm going to add brown into that mix, a little bit of Italian burnt sienna, I think it is. No, it's some other. I'll put the colours below because I honestly can't remember what they are here. I'll have to go back over that. So there's lots of little sticks and things lying down here and behind. Interesting. Okay, I've gone to a bit brown there. Might even go to a purple. I kind of like the idea of this, the shadows coming down to the edge of the river. I'm using a bit of a dry brush there, so that leaves lots of hairy bits hanging out, which makes it look interesting. Just going to fuzz that all in. Too much detail there, so I just want the eye to relax and not worry too much about what's what that fiddly part is. Same over here. I'll come back to my full screen. On this side, tempted to just run a brush, light wash over that to blend it in together. And I'll come back down. I'll try and make my brush go pointy and just do the left-hand side of this tree trunk. And I can see there I haven't left it as white as it is in the photograph. That's okay, I'm going to make it darker. The branches going up and out, and they're all a part of this. This lighter part is on this side. Oop. This is where you need the rigger. Once you get past the thick branches, you need them thinner, and the little rigger is what you need. I'll probably come back over this with some white into these. Now there's another tree trunk behind there. White into these branches, I meant. Make that go that way. There we go. Might even thicken this out a bit. I'll exaggerate this one. Fine brush. Thought I had one just there. Must have picked it up. It's not bad. I put it down the wrong place. Okay. Back to the black. Oh, nice purple. Maybe I'll use that. These guys are leaving a shadow. That really helps. Oop. Yep, this is the water. Now, looks like one big mess, so the chance, now you have to pull it together. Don't need light in there. Half close your eyes and think, now what more do I need? I definitely need to clarify this area here. It's not easy to tell what's going on. So, I need a better brush. You have to spend a bit of time finding and choosing your right brush, because otherwise it's ending up looking too out of control or too controlled. That's the trick. Right. Smudge this in. I'm not happy with the way that the light's coming through those trees, so I'm going to just, what I might do is just take them up and put some new areas in at the top there, like that. Very faint. Behind I'm going to do some more very faint lines, horizontal lines here. Shadows between the trees there. Could have put that in earlier, but that's the sort of thing that happens. You decide things when it's kind of too late for the initial. Now I'm just going to run this dark colour down here a little bit, just to clarify the edge of that mountain going into the water down there. Right. Now the fun part here is trying to make this water look like water. At the moment it looks just like ground. So what can I do? I'll mix up a very dark edge and I'll run it from those trees over there, which by the way have pretty much now disappeared. I'll have to bring them back. A couple of little verticals here and there. Add some blue to that. Because it's a long way away, that's a bit too brown, warm. Yeah. Let's go in dark again here. This has dried off and lost its depth. So I'll go dark, dark in there. Once again on the sides of those trees. Go right in there. It's a little bit too straight up and down, so I've got to edge in a little bit like that. Blue, brown together, a bit of purple. Oh, okay. So it's quite a surprise sometimes what colours you can end up with. Not always deliberate, not always repeatable. Try and get that chap to look a bit better. Okay, now, do I need to do any more up the top on those mountains? Kind of do and kind of don't. It's tempting just to run a few lines to give that feeling of detail. But on the whole, it's kind of so easy to overdo where it won't look any good. I'm just doing a few. And then on this side, of course, it has to be much darker. And there's little trees at top. A bit of a rough edge up there. Now that light bit there, kind of reluctant to get rid of it, so I think I'll turn it into a feature in the wall. Make it look like they're catching the light. It's not really there. Oop. Every now and then these brushes get a mind of their own and they decide to bend over. Do something weird. Okay, a little bit more there. These rock faces are constantly peeling off. Yeah, that's enough, just to make it busy. Light green at the back there. Where can I get some greens from? Okay, in here. Oop, not so light. That's all right. I'll bring that forward. This area here is definitely sand, but I'll put a little bit of shadow over that. And when I do shadows on sand, I tend to make them cool blue colour. Okay. Just to give that feel of 3 dimensions. Now, foreground. A lot of fun to be had. I've got branches, weeds growing. Oh, no, they're probably not weeds. Natural grasses, that's what I meant. They're only weeds if they're not wanted. Everyone wants these. So I'm going very dark, bluey, browny, blacky colour. They can throw shadows. So if you have an area of a picture that's not very interesting, just put some weeds in it and long grasses, like that. And they're right up underneath the camera lens, so they're right over here where you're standing. And I'm a great one for darkening corners in pictures. If you go back over, nearly everything I do has dark around it rather than leaving it to go light. Some people vignette to light. I tend to do the opposite and I go to the dark edge. Or to the dark side. You know what I mean. Now, okay. Kind of happy with most of that. This is going a bit weird, so I'll just smooth that out. Try and keep that line of light coming through there as it was. Might round up that at the back there. It's in the light, it's in the sunlight, so let's pretend it's yellow even though it's not. Just on the sides of those. Same as up here on these trees here, which is foreground. So I just put a little bit of messy branches in there. Half thinking that area there and that area there is disturbing from what I want. So I'm going to go for a nice big brush. I'll probably go for this one again. How to get rid of colours that you're not real happy with. Try a different colour. So this is supposed to be water and it's not looking like water at the moment. So somehow or other I'm going to have to put some blue in there. And I might put the blue right over there. Make it look like the water's gone right into that area. I'm going to put the blue up here too. Not because it looks like water, but because I want the side of the mountain to go just that touch cooler. I'll run that blue in behind. And might put the blue behind them there too. Okay. More over here. And behind there. Foreground. I think I'll go, I won't put blue in the foreground, I think I'll go for a yellow colour, an orange. See how I go tying that in. Okay. Right. I'll just grab some tissues and see if I can make some patterns in that. This side, don't know, I kind of like it. Okay, so there's one area that I have yet to play with and that's the water, and I'm hoping that the white colours will rescue that. Okay. Tissue. Tissue is a lot better than kitchen paper, by the way, for doing this final work. Now I'm just going to see if I can get any marks in there. No, I can't. So sometimes you can scrape. If it's better quality paper, I mean this is good quality paper, but it's limited. Yeah, it hasn't got that ability to scratch out. Foreground's not too bad, I can definitely scratch that. Okay. These ones at the back here, they're going to need, I'll put a little bit of mark in them, but they're going to need some white paint on that to pick those out. This is the sort of thing that I can't tell until I've done the painting what I'm going to need to be white. So I'm going to dry that off now and see how we come back and rescue this water. I'm not happy with the water. I think I've I think I need to run some water coming down behind them, but that might make it complicated. So let me think about it while I'm drying it off. Interesting how once it's dry, by the way, when you touch it, if it feels warm, then you know it's dry. But if you let it, if it's still cold, then there's some water still in it. Let me find a colour. It's muddy. It's a tannin stained water. I think it's a universal worldwide colour, but we tend to have a fair bit of it with our gum trees. So let's just see if I can, without getting my head in the way, run this water up behind these people. I'm going right over them, which is not much I can do about that. Sort of thing you need to put in at the beginning. And then I'll bring that colour down into that area. Blend it through. Okay. I'll get some white now. I could go in and add a lot of darkness to this and a lot of detail of this in the shadows there, which is, no, actually I may as well do that. Like I say, it might not be necessary, but let's do it and see what fun we can have. So we'll worry about the figures later. I'll just put this area in here. Going to run down some shadows. You might not be able to see it. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but dark shadows coming off those trees. Some coming off those. So I'm just mixing the very dark blacky colour, basically. Black made up of interesting colours. So let's just trace this around. I'm going to, I've put what looks like a river going behind there, but in reality, now that I look really closely at the photograph, I think that river might not be just there, but that's okay. It's my painting, and I'll have a river wherever I want. There, okay. Put a couple of branches off these little trunks to make them interesting. Make sure these shadows are going behind there. Now, I'm going to emphasise the edge of what I think is the water. Okay. Can't even tell which part I want it to be water and which. Anyway, let's go for that. Now, I just need to get the white paint. Oh, excuse me for stretching over. One tube of white paint, although I think this is a dry one. Let me have a look. Oh, there it is, hiding. So I like to take it straight from the tube, because then I can get the full strength thickness of the white that I need. So I'll start with the figures, because it's always nice to have those properly into place. And just going to put a little touch of white on the right hand side of those people. So they're walking like that, they've got the sun hitting them. This tree trunk here, got to be very careful because it's a very vague trunk. I don't want to really pick it out too much. I don't want to be over the top. The bottom part I'll make a little bit lighter because I've left that there. Now, these branches here all could do with a tiny highlight. And some of them are just white in themselves, so I can make them up here. Okay. I honestly think my addition of white on these paintings is just as important as all the colour I've put on. Pick out some of these weeds at the front, just the right hand side, that's enough. Now the water's edge. Just to find that, and then I'm going to be putting in, there's a little bit of what looks like a rapid going over there. And the water can come around the edge like that. Yep. I'm not looking real closely at the photo, it's a fair distance from me, so bear with me if you think I'm doing it wrong. Now, just over there. A little bit of a mystery as to what's happening, so I don't mind a mystery. I'm not going to define it any better than what it is. From what I can see here. So then up the bank here over this side, there's some sunlight rays going up there, and they're catching those tree trunks as they go vertical. Beautiful. So I'm just squinting as I do this. I'm not really focusing or being very neat and tidy. Right. think I might just play around here with some, I'll just pretend there's a, you know, the light being reflected down into the water, even though it's not in the photograph. Same there, this light here, down there. Okay. And I've done those, I can see what I've done wrong. I've done those shadows with a bit of a curve in them, so they need to be straightened out. So a few strokes of the white will help there. At the top here, a bit more added there. It's already white, but I'll just have to put a bit more in. Now, the ground edge could probably do with darkening there, just there, and that might be all I do. So let me just darken that off. Dark brown, burnt umber, beautiful. So I'll add it to the bottom. Oh, need more water. Nope. Just trying to get the right brown. While they're all so dark, it's hard to tell what I've got. Add some of that to that. Okay, and I'm using a rigger. So I'll put the shadows in amongst these weeds, base of them. In fact, they've got the, run that out a bit. Now this area here, lots of little spots because of the rocks. So I'll do a little round circle. And theoretically it's going to be on the left side of each little rock. So I'll just, and to tell you the truth, I can't see. They're just more like footprints in the sand. Okay, that'll do me. Now I got rid of the red out of this palette. Now I need some red, but there's enough left there just to do a little SP. Quite enough. Oh. Okay, that is Glen Davis. What a beautiful spot. I'll take these away. Take off the tape. Of course, you could almost throw paint at a piece of paper, and then if you peel off an edge, it's always going to look good. Okay. Let me just clean that up a little bit. The board, that is. I'll leave it stuck on the board till it dries. My hands are dirty. Okay, there we go. Well, thanks very much for watching, guys. So here's the painting. Hope you like it. It was fun to paint, and landscapes are my favourite, honestly. I love them. But yeah, I'll see what I can do next time. I'll just see, you know what, I see problems all the time. I can just fiddle with that and fiddle with that. I could just keep going on this to make it better, and but I won't do that because there's the time limit.